self-expression. All these demons, yo, they so aggressive. Many people, they possess them. Channeling make me rethink my message. You see the light, I'm the one who protects it. You hear they songs, it's gibberish, just like the infected. Words void and cold, got everything.
Peace, 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 everybody. How you doing? My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of A Way of Life. I am a career and business coach using astrology. And today I'm going to be talking about Jupiter entering into Pisces. I always say I'm not going to be on here too long, but after going through everything, I feel like I really covered everything in the last video. If anything else comes up, I'll just post it on my social media pages. But for the most part, I mean, I'm really repeating energy. And so what I really wanted to focus on is in the Capricorn new moon video, at the very end, I was beginning to talk about time and how Capricorn rules time. And I just wanted to touch on a little bit more about what I meant by that. And I think I've even brought this up before in other conversations. One in particular, of course I can't remember what video it was, that I touched upon how the multiverse is real. Other dimensions are real, which is the same thing as the multiverse. But it's easier for us to understand it in ways that are explained differently. And so I talked a little bit about, I really hope that people are checking out Spider-Man, the multiverse, because it was just so real. I mean, I just don't find it any mistake that it came out right around the winter solstice. And I don't find it any mistake that the next Marvel movie that's coming out in May is Doctor Strange, the multiverse. But that's kind of what Pisces is, because Jupiter in Pisces is going to expand this idea. So first and foremost, Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces, right? And Jupiter expands anything that it touches, but it also rules the 9th house, Jupiter. This is the house of Sagittarius, where we just had a clearing of new energy there, clearing of old energy, and we're starting over fresh in this area of life. But it's also about travel. And if you've gotten a reading from me, then you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't think I've ever really talked about it much in this way on a grand scale, because typically I'm doing a general overview. And it wasn't really just that, it just isn't that important. But on the day-to-day, if you have Mercury in this placement, this is time travel, traveling through your mind. If you say don't particularly care too much for physical travel, right? And I think the reason why this is being enhanced to this degree is not just because we're in all this new energy, but it's the restriction Saturn. It's like the ending of a time, a way of doing things and understanding things that's changing. And so Aquarius and Uranus is all this new, innovative, energy, right? It's also very futuristic, fast-moving energy. And these are all things that can be very much related to a multiverse, or even beginning to understand a multiverse. And so I feel like it's just an expression of times changing. because the outside world is changing and we're going to have to adapt. And in order to adapt to it, we're just going to be open up to so many different ways of doing things. And the reason that I say that is because Jupiter, Pisces, the ruler of the 12th house, rules boundlessness. It's very ethereal. This is your intuition, your inner self, your inner knowing. No boundaries here. This is faith, right? Just a deeper understanding and connection to the divine. And when you get all spiritual with it and you add the spirituality piece to it, this is like the footsteps, the breadcrumbs, right, that have been left for us years before we even came here, that has gotten us to this point by faith, right? Whether we know it or not, or we've had glimpses of it or not, like these are things that I think that we're going to begin to see come to fruition in a very mysticism, Piscean kind of way. Now, you know, we know that life is but a dream, right? I've talked about that. And we know that Pisces, the 12th house, is also the house of Hollywood, right? And how they put all of our ancient knowledge and things of that nature in movies so that we don't think it's real, right? That's the what is that? The lower vibrations of Pisces, where, you know, we kind of become the victim, and we've kind of been lost, or this idea of fallen from knowingness, or knowing thyself, who we are, where we're from, to living very human lives. But every now and again, you get these glimmers, these flickers of light, of intuition, of messages, of sight, just knowingness, right? That something else bigger is at play here. And Jupiter is going to expand that, right? Because anything Jupiter touches, it expands. And I think that's going to be the spiritual awakening that we're going to feel at this time, which is going to be just awesome. I for one, can't. I'm excited about this naturally, right? But before I keep going on my little tangent here, again, I don't want to be too long. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you are into this stuff, if you're getting where I'm talking about, if any of this stuff is making sense, if somebody else you know is going to benefit from this in some way, shape, or form, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want your own personal horoscope written for you, feel free to send me an email at A Way of Life, and life is spelled LYFE.net, and I will send you the link to become a Patreon. You will receive your personal horoscope specific to your chart every Saturday. Okay. So we'll be opening up more to this idea of being able to understand that we do have different our different selves, if you will, other selves and other worlds that we do connect to in different various ways. And they show us things. They help us get to our higher self, and vice versa. I'm sure we do for them as well. It's a symbiotic relationship. And the thing that I liked about this the most is that, I'm sorry, I got a message. And so we'll have access to this energy all the way until May. Jupiter will be in Pisces, and then it'll dip into Aries for until October. And that's going to be a completely different energy shift. But in a sense, we'll be taking all that inner work, that inner understanding, and putting that into real life action steps, I feel like, with Jupiter moving into Aries. And in a sense, it's given us a glimpse of what to look forward to in 2023, when Jupiter officially enters Aries for the entire year. And then in October, it'll move back into Pisces until the end of December. And so the last time we had this transit was back in 2010 and 2011. And some of the movements in the U.S. were same-sex marriage started. Religious themes grew. The earthquake in Haiti. I definitely think that we'll see a lot more themes around weather. I talked about that in the last video, where we can see a lot of things around water specifically, because Pisces is a water sign. There were a bunch of charities that promised money but never got it. So there's that that theme that could be playing out again in some way, shape, or form. Fake gurus and occults were really big at this time. There was false hope around the healthcare industry. I know a lot of people are feeling that. I actually noticed that a lot more nurses are coming out and speaking and sharing the horrific things that are going on in the field, and they're leaving. They're done, you know. And even that idea in some way, shape, or form is forcing us into another way of doing and being, by way of, we're going to be forced to think differently through the restrictions that are coming through from Saturn and Aquarius. And however they may be, whatever they are, you know, just like, if you, no, that's not the right expression. Just like what happened when everybody went on lockdown, right? We got real super creative on how to start connecting with one another. We all got online and made it work, right? Zoom became a thing. Video calling became a thing. You know, we just learned how to use technology, to leverage technology in a way that helped us do what we needed to do. I feel like in the same way, we're going to do the same thing with healthcare as that field declines, especially with the Taurus being in Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius. It's going to further push us into these more futuristic things and ways of doing. And because Taurus is an earth sign and it's in the North Node, this is first and foremost where we're supposed to be moving towards as a collective, right? And because it's an earth sign, these are going to be earth projects, sustainability, investments, self-value, self-worth, savings, how to budget better, be more frugal, and then all of the healthcare stuff comes in. So a lot more growing our own food, making our own food, not going out to the restaurants as frequently and often. And I talked about, you know, why that's possibly going to be a thing, because, you know, a lot of businesses are not going to make it, even though there are a lot more new businesses coming out, which is awesome, by the way. Congratulations to those people. I think the bigger thing is that nobody's really working. And so the more we keep trying to build a system on a system that is currently in the process of eroding, if you will, breaking down, if you will, the more destruction we'll see, right? And so we have to be creative. And I talked about all of this back in 2019. I did a video called Careers for 2020, 2021, and 2022. It might have been 2019, 2020, and 2021. Don't quote me on that. But I talked about farm to table, bartering, right? Taurus is a bartering energy, building, making businesses with your family, new skills, and how to, again, leverage technology to do that. We had Gemini and North Node when I did this. So delivering is going to be a really big thing. How to deliver, adding a delivery component to your business. Maybe even just only officially online, right? Because they're restricting people from going into places. So how do you refute that? How do you get creative in your thinking when you're starting your own business to help people? Because you have to remember your mission, your purpose in this lifetime, you are meant to do in such a way to help humanity. And because humanity right now is against government, or government's against us, really, we don't really give a fuck about them like that. We're not wasting our time on them the way they are on us, right? And so, you have to get creative, because your services is going to help us continue to grow and evolve in this new age. And so, it'll catch on for the people that haven't yet. Don't give up, don't get discouraged. But the Affordable Health Care Act was promised but never went through. I know you guys all remember that freaking debacle with President Obama. And people had a savior complex. So we could see a lot of these same themes repeating at this time. We might see a lot more freedom finally with things. But again, I've heard people talking about the airlines. They finally got those stupid IDs. I talked about that back in 2019, where you have to have a specific kind. It's a special ID now that you have to have in order to travel. Like, it's not passports anymore. They're like IDs. And you'll most likely need these to get into anywhere officially at some point. Especially, I think we'll see more of this once Pluto has its return in America. A lot more of these themes are going to grow or be more public, because I certainly haven't heard, not from the news factors, but just from other people in other countries. So we'll see. We can definitely see some growth in the film, art, TV industry. Creativity is going to be on a massive level for photography, dance, spirituality, mysticism, and a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs definitely going to grow at this time. There are going to be situations that come with beautiful blessings, but these things are not going to be easy. We have to do the work with Jupiter. Jupiter is like, gives us the ingredients that we need to bring our dreams to fruition. But then we have to stop putting those ingredients to work. And to be honest, I really don't think that we're going to see a lot of these things playing out in any specific kind of way, because it's an internal energy. It really depends on where you are spiritual. People who are spiritually already on the journey and have been on the journey for a while, this is going to be freaking amazing for you guys. You're going to love this. It's going to be like, you're the ones who are going to be time traveling. You're going to see the portals. These are like how I explained at the end of the year when I did my winter solstice initiation, which was freaking phenomenal, guys. Like, I can't even begin to tell you. Mine was actually about the past. I haven't seen any future stuff yet. But very specifically, I could tell you that I went on a journey from that point back in 6 years ago when I originally started that class to the day where I was just like, oh my God, Spirit was showing me so much that whole week. I have family issues. They're like, this is why you had to go through this. This is why this needed to happen so that you could grow spiritually, so you can have the vision that you have now, the point of view that you have now, the perspective that you have now. Jupiter, right? Jupiter is your worldview, your philosophy, perspective, right? The bigger picture, right? Like, oh my God, it was just wonderful and beautiful in so many different ways that I can go on and on and on about that, but it's going to be something like that where you're just going to be shown specific things. These could come in dreams, visions, deja vu, movies, all kinds of divine message through the numbers. If you're seeing numbers, go look to see what they mean. License plates. If you're thinking about somebody and it's like really out of the blue and you're like, why the hell was I thinking about that person? Call them or continue a conversation with them. You know, ask that thing what it wants. This could very much be alien contact, psychic contact where you are speaking to people from the dead, right? Especially with Pluto, Scorpio, and the South Node. Oh, come on. We're talking about death, life and death, rebirth, you know? Literally, these are conversations from the underworld, the people who have gone and passed, lessons that have gone and passed. You know, when we talk about relationships and being able to connect with the multiverse, right? Come on. When we are connecting with the multiverse, these are all messages from other dimensions, other parts of ourselves, past lives, even like generational things. You know, it could be your soul family from another mother. This stuff excites me. I'm sorry. But you know, your angels, your deities, your generational. Oh my God, why am I struggling with this? The name that I'm trying to think of are guardians, angels, deities from generations, from past generations, lives, family members from past generations. You know, when we're talking about Pluto here, I mean, the conversations are going to be real, you know? Past life regression things, all the spiritual tools that you could think of as a Piscean energy is all going to be amplified times 30. Like, I don't even think that people are even going to begin to understand how spiritual we really are, you know? And the beautiful thing about having that Scorpio and the South Node is like, it's healing. You know, it's like once you know the truth, you get to, there's like this certain peace that overcomes you, that allows you to move forward now that you know. You know, like how they talk about like if you've ever seen any of those ghost stories, ghost movies, the stories are always predicated to like the ghost just wanting you to share their story, right? Going back to that Pisces, Neptune energy, it's just a testimony to testify that I was here, you know, and whatever story that was told is not my story. I don't know why whenever I think about this, I think about slavery, people from past times coming here, like, and you get the chance to tell their story. You know, people who might not be so spiritually awoken or on this path, I still feel like there's going to be times that you might get glimpses of this type of stuff, but also in very different kinds of ways, or maybe perhaps on the lower vibration where you choose to no longer live within this new truth, right? So we're talking about the red pill or the blue pill here. And so you might choose to more of the lower vibrations of these energies, which is live in the smart worlds that they're about to set up. So you'll have the chip, you have the easy access to everything. You'll have you probably already got your new passport, right? Which is fine, by the way. You came back here to choose to live your life the way you wanted to. I need to make that very clear that whatever you choose to do, whichever side of this you're on, you still have a very important role here, right? And so you'll be in the part of the world where they make all the decisions for you, pretty much, where you might think you're making your own decisions, but actually you are not, right? You'll continue not to use your brain, and they'll have electronics for that, you know, all kinds of human technology that will allow you to do specific things that I think still are so freaking cool. Just want to put that out there, especially for like vets and people who might lose an arm, right? We've seen that in iRobot, where they start replacing people with robot parts, right? So I think it's good. It's going to be good for specific things. But, you know, ultimately what the problem becomes is now they have full and complete control over you, you know. And I talked about this when I talked about the show that I was watching, Charmed, when the episode where they wanted to create a utopia, right? And there was a very important scene in there where the guy was like, everybody will have to be put to sleep in order for them to forget the way things were, to live in this new world, to understand what things are, right? And I remember that really, really stuck with me for a long time. And I find that as no mistake, that this is where we're at right now, right? We have this opportunity to create this utopia where there's no more of these power struggles and such, but we're going to have to go through the underground first before we get there. And so I even say that to say that even if you do choose to live in the world with easy access, where you own nothing, you have access to everything but own nothing, I think even that is not going to last. And you'll have a very short-lived experience there, because essentially we are going to start to create the matrix, the utopia. We are going to revert back to our spirit body, so our higher self. You know, we are going to find our way back home, going back to what I was talking about in the beginning of the video, where we are here experiencing this fall from knowledge of self, right? Before we had to come down here to fall from a lack of remembering who we were, right? To go through all these things to remember who we are, even though we may not be living out our lives like such. And we will remember. It's inevitable. You know, it's just what time it is. It's the end of the rule of these people in power, because it's a bigger picture thing, right? And when we're talking about a bigger picture thing, it's like now to the point where the earth is struggling through these idiotic things that we are not doing. You know, we're not asking the right questions. We're not fighting for our power. We're not seeking out who we are. And we have a job to do in that seeking of that knowledge of who we are. We have a responsibility to the earth. We have a responsibility to humanity. We have a responsibility to ourselves. We have a responsibility to our spirit. We have a responsibility to our culture and who we are and how things are run. And we got to get back to this higher power and knowledge of self, right? And so we are essentially wrapping up a 12-year cycle, as well as a 24-year cycle and a 36-year cycle. So next year, we'll see resolutions to narratives and challenges that are closing and finalizing. So what was happening for you back in 2010, 1998, and 1986? In 1986, I was only 4. I was born in 82, right? 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I was only 4 years old. So I don't really, obviously, I can't remember what the heck was going on for me, but everybody else should be thinking about, if you can remember, some of y'all might have not even been born. But even this, and speaking about it, this from this perspective, we're talking about time travel, right? You know, what was going on for you? What storylines are you wrapping up? You know, the good thing is that if you never got a chance to do anything because of the choices that you made, or maybe you just wasn't ready spiritually, all those things will have the opportunities to come back with that Jupiter and Pisces energy, you know? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the culmination of coming together of a multiverse, of a dimension, of understanding how time works, right? And maybe those things weren't even readily available for you, but they're waiting for you to get you to your higher path. You know, that's what this is ultimately all about. And I like it. I like it, family. I'm really super excited about all of it. I can't wait to see what comes to fruition, how it all plays out. But, you know, as usual, family, if you haven't checked out the Jupiter and Pisces personal horoscopes, please do so. I love and appreciate every single one of y'all. I hope you found this information helpful.